A
That's
baby.
daddy. No, you can't have daddy's old fashioned.
Why not?
Yeah, you can have a banana.
He's like, I don't want a banana.
You got a nana. Uh-huh. Give me smooch. Uh-huh. Why you want to wear daddy's headphones? You can ask your question, Tyler.
I'm just listening to the child.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Which one of these do I want to do next? Okay. Objectively, being objective, PC is better than console.
Okay, so I have to guess that you're going to say yes.
I'm really, you know what? I've been torn about my answer ever since I wrote the question. Because obviously the reactionary answer is yes. I mean, because it as a machine with which to play a game, it's clearly better.
Make your guess before you confirm or deny.
I'm not confirming or denying. I'm letting you know before you give your answer. I'm letting you know what I thought about when I was making my final answer.
I gotcha.
So if you take into consideration the benefits of what a console gaming experience is like compared to a PC, you never think about playing a PC game anywhere other than relatively close to your monitor, relatively close to your system, in a gaming chair, which is preferred by most people, so I understand. But I mean, most of my console gaming experiences
on couches and
on the couch, on a giant TV, leaning back, close to a beverage that I would never put next to my computer, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of weigh those two things side by side when I gave my answer. So if you feel like you want to change your answer, knowing everything, I wasn't just taking into is the machine better? Obviously, the computer is better than that's not up for debate. It's obvious.
Yeah.
We're going all the way down to the experience as well.
Yeah. Well, see, you're a smart guy. And you worded the question. PC is the PC gaming experience is objectively, or PC is objectively a better gaming machine than a console, I believe is how you worded it. But because you said the word objectively, and everything you just described were subjective experiences, I have to leave my answer as yes.
This is true, but I would just let you know what my thought process was. Yeah. Obviously, if I could do everything on the PC as opposed to the console, I'd be doing it. So yes, absolutely, and I know what your answer is. It's been the same for. I mean, like you make your answer clear every single time a new game comes out. You buy it for PCs and consoles.
Now that more and more games are cross-platform, it's not a big deal anymore.
No, but that's exactly my point. When they're cross-platform and you still choose PC, that's so it's your answer's pretty clear.
Yeah,
I knew that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we both got it right. Small sip.
Small sip. Small sip, and I'm really regretting having this crappy beer for a small sip. That would have made something good.
Well, I mean, small drink for a beer. A small drink is bigger than my old fashioned. You know.
I would hope so. Your turn.
Okay, so my next question is a pseudo political one, and it's this: pseudo. Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein just happen to have been really good friends. No funny business.
I do not believe in the concept of keeping company with people that are inherently evil. I cannot bring myself to think. Yes, I'm saying that there's no way Epstein was just magically friends with this evil person.
Exactly. I was going to make the same joke.
So absolutely not. There's no way that Bill Gates wouldn't have completely perverted this man's mind.
Okay, small sip. We're both right. Okay, your question.
All right, back to my neckbeardy hot takes. Let's go with one that's less neckbeardy. This one's a lot less neckbeardy. I'm going to split. I have two kind of similar types of questions, so I'm going to split them up. Metal Gear Solid Original did more for story-driven video games than any other game. And I am saying before or after. It made the biggest changes that are still copied today. So, like, genuine revolutionary changes to the way
stories are told.
Story-driven games were told in a video game.
Okay.
I asked this question specifically because you've never played Metal Gear Solid.
I've seen them played. I know I have a thoughts about them, and having engaged with some other Kojima stuff, I'm gonna guess you're actually gonna say no.
Still Kojima, who we aren't Kojima fanboys to the extent that a lot of other people who are aggressively into games as we are. Are.
Yeah, this won't necessarily affect my answer, but I'll just say this. Kojima is not the writer and genius that everyone cracks him up to be. I don't have a problem with the guy. He's cool and he's funny and he makes good games. Cool. But he's not the genius and writer that everyone cracks him up to be.
He's hilarious. He seems like a great guy. The way he does his cameos of himself in his video games cracks me up. But he's essentially the M. Night Shyamalan of gaming. Which is fine, but he's not incredible.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Okay. And there's no way I could have an answer having not played. I've played the newer ones. I've played 2 parts of the 6 parts that make up 5. But I don't have enough experience with Metal Gear to
I feel like your answer would, but if you had to give an answer, I feel like your answer would be no.
If I had to give an answer, an answer would be no. But just with my understanding of Kojima, I don't see how that was.
Okay. Well, then I will briefly go into my reasoning for saying why it is, in my opinion. And this is, I think objectively it's done a ton. In my opinion, it might have done the most. So, in the simplest of forms, it was the very first game to have actual directed and voice-acted cutscenes. So, if we just completely walk away from the subject right there, that is probably enough for me to say it's done the most. Because it was the first game to actually be like the first mainstream game. There might have been one somewhere that I don't know about. But it was the first one to do it in that way, in that manner. And they did not do it the best. They did not do it the most.
It wasn't the first one. It was released in 1998. Final Fantasy VII was released in 1997.
Final Fantasy VII did not have voice-acted cutscenes.
Did it not?
You had text subtitle cutscenes.
No, not Final Fantasy VII. That the older ones did. But this, oh, good lord! I was looking up some. I was going to look at one of the cutscenes for it, and the first thing that popped up was the sealed copy for PlayStation for $500 on Amazon.
No, thank you.
Okay,
that's a ton of money. So here's where we're getting a little bit different here. We'll be more specific. I was going to leave it a little bit vaguer, but if we're gonna really dive in, we'll be more specific of why. Final Fantasy VII and some other games around it had a full-blown cinematic cutscene. Like, the gameplay stops. The cutscene plays. You are not in the game any longer. For this moment in time. When we think about Uncharted, there are cutscenes, whether they be something that's about to start a quick time event, which was, a different thing. Slightly.
I see what you're saying. So, like, you're not talking about like just cutscenes in general. You're talking about the specific way that Metal Gear did cutscenes.
We've had cutscenes in video games that had a voice acting in it in probably the 80s. So, I mean, obviously that's not the thing. It's the first game to be like you walk into a room, a cutscene. You can still walk around. You can still move your camera to some extent. You can still do some other stuff. You have full directed, full voice acted, full motion captured cutscenes. Not a scene that was made in like some lame The Final Fantasy VII style.
Yeah. See, I never would have guessed that just because I don't consider that a cutscene because it's a cutscene. It cuts to a scene.
Play me out, Johnny.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I get that. I don't see how that concept, walking around while a cutscene is going on. Although there is a game that happened in the same year that did that. I don't know what came out first in the year. In 1998, same year. And that was Mask of Eternity. Had that sort of walk-in, move-around cutscene. No.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same style.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was first.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, we have to be objective here. It did not do it as well, and it wasn't as mainstream.
I'll disagree with you. It did not do it as well, even though I haven't played Metal Gear. Oh, Patrick! But the old Metal Gears. But I can't see it doing it. I can't see the not doing it as well being correct. But I will definitely agree to the not as well known, not as mainstream. Because I guess most influential could be correct. When I think of influential, because I think of like being a positive influence, games are like it now, and they're not. So I guess games aren't like it now, but I can see how Daddy's knows.
Yeah, they're not like it. They're not like it.
Yeah,
that's true, but that's not the point. The point is that it made changes that everyone still uses.
Yeah, I get that. Although going back to King's Quest, if we're looking at the best story-driven games, most of the games on that list will be will be games that Roberta Williams made.
For me and you, sure, but for the mainstream, definitely not.
Oh, I didn't say most. I didn't say most popular. I said best.
If we were going to make a list of objective best, then they would be different all the way around on what we're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Objectively, what's better versus what actually made changes because enough people saw it to where it mattered that it made a change. Mm-hmm. Fortnite has changed the entire gaming industry. That doesn't mean it's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so my next two gaming questions, they were very obvious that everyone knew the answer to, and I just kind of had them in there just so our hot takes could be put out, but it doesn't really influence the game any, so I removed them. So, which actually gives another pseudo-political question, and that is this. I would rather be stuck in an elevator with a bleeding heart Bernie bro than a why can't we all just get along libertarian type.
That's tough. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know who I'd rather be stuck in an elevator with.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so me specifically with my personality, I mean, we have to think of which person would we be able to tolerate better. Because if all it is just my personality, if either of these two people start talking, I'd just say, shut up, and then I'd be fine with being in the elevator with either of them because they'd shut up.
Shut up.
Yeah, but so now it's just which of these people, if they didn't shut up, would you rather be stuck with?
So I'm guessing for you though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're guessing for me. I'm guessing for you. I'm guessing what you're gonna say. You're guessing what I'm gonna say.
I am guessing that for you, you would rather have the hardcore socialist.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least you would have a conversation that you were like, I see you have you have an actual belief.
Mm-hmm.
And I can, while I don't like your belief, I like to respect the idea that you have a belief, and I would love to argue you into the ground over it, as opposed to someone be like, hey man, what if we all were just like smoking Fat J, having a good time?
Yeah, so there's no argument. Okay, so let's go back to this. There is no argument. I'm just stuck in an elevator listening to this person talk.
Same thing.
Okay. For you, I think you're gonna pick I think you would pick the libertarian. So I guess the answer is technically no for you to pick. For you to pick the libertarian, the answer is no. So I'm guessing you're gonna say no. You pick the libertarian.
I probably would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So for me, yeah, we're both right. Tiny sip. For me, yeah, it's kind of, if you're wrong. You're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to be an idiot. But when you're like, man, we can do this and we can do that and we can, you mind your business, I'll mind my business and let those people mind their business and who cares if they're the evil pricks? They can do whatever they want. I want to choke you. I can't stand you. Like, no, just if you want to be wrong, be wrong. Stand somewhere, man.
This is why the worst bumper sticker in the world, I think we agree on this one.
Mm-hmm.
The coexist bumper sticker is the worst bumper sticker that's ever existed.
The best bumper stickers ever existed is the one that parodises that one.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Oh, you want?
I have not been able to find one in the wild or buy it.
Mm-hmm. I've not seen one. I've only seen one in the wild, but they still exist on Amazon.
It doesn't have the same effect if you buy them that way.
Patrick, I can't put these on the table. I have headphones on. Mama will give them to you.
I don't know what to do. He's hungry, and I'm making food.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's your question next.
Mm-hmm. If I throw up in the middle of this, it's just because I had to throw up.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's fair.
Just so you're aware, that's usually why it happens. So I've been thinking about this a lot recently because I recently sat down and watched the new Uncharted movie.
Oh.
Now, you know how I feel about Uncharted.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, Uncharted is objectively, in my opinion, which we won't talk about in here. Or this doesn't have to do with any questions.
Mm-hmm.
I objectively think Uncharted is the greatest game series of all time. Or no, I think for me, I shouldn't have said objectively, subjectively, because I love Uncharted.
Yeah.
None of the 4 Uncharted games, because I refuse to acknowledge the other one, none of them make my top 3. but I love them so much. I just have a soft spot for them. I think it was because the experience that you and I had with them when we got our PS3 and was playing Uncharted.
Uh-huh.
I'm rambling so much now. They're having to do with the question.
I was saying, what's the question?
The point is, you know how I feel about Uncharted.
Yeah.
I watched the Uncharted movie.
Mm-hmm.
It inspired this question.
Mm-hmm.
Movie crossovers from video games should not exist.
Hmm.
And you can word it however you'd like.
Yeah.
I mean, the inclusion of that.
Okay, so, yeah, so I'm gonna say you're gonna say no. So my guess for you is no. No.
I guess for you.
Hold on. They should not exist. That's the statement. No, that statement is false. There's nothing wrong with them existing. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying you're saying they shouldn't exist. I'm saying you're saying they're fine to exist. If not, they should. Like, they either should or it's okay that they do.
I think for you it would depend on which game they were trying to do. Like the Dark Souls game, the Dark Souls movie that's going to be coming out soon is probably going to be terrible.
Yeah, so I base the question on the concept of video game movies.
Okay, if you're thinking of it as the concept, then I'm sure you're fine with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Outside of Resident Evil, and objectively, those weren't very good. We just really liked them. Outside of Resident Evil, there haven't been any good ones. But I don't have a problem with them existing, and if one was done well, it'd be a fantastic movie.
Then I'll go ahead and tell you the reason why I had this question. Mm-hmm. The Uncharted movie is amazing.
Really?
It's phenomenal.
I still don't want to watch it because it's not Nathan Fillion, but I may check it out.
Okay, so this is true, and I had that initial knee-jerk reaction. So the voice actor for Nathan Drake, the greatest voice actor in all of video gaming, one of the most prolific voice actors in all of video gaming, has a cameo.
Really?
So one of the big scenes from Uncharted 3, Uncharted 3?
Nolan North, that's his name. I couldn't think of his name.
Nolan North.
Nolan North.
One of the big scenes from Uncharted 3, they recreate scenes from the video game, like the big flashing ones, and they do it really well. Mm-hmm. Uncharted 3 has one in particular where he's like falling out of a giant airplane, essentially.
Yeah.
They recreate that scene so perfectly, they even ended with him driving a car off of the plane. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. I will check it out.
I highly suggest it. It's great.
Okay,
so he lands in the water. He comes down, washes himself up on a beach. As he washes himself up on the beach, the music switches to Drake's theme. Mm-hmm. He crawls up on the beach, and this guy with sunglasses, wearing Nathan Drake's outfit, being Nolan North, says, "What happened to you?" And he said, "Oh, nothing. I was chasing a bad guy, lost my artifact, fell out of a plane, and now I'm washed up on a beach." Nolan North puts his sunglasses back, goes, "Something like that just happened to me."
That's fantastic. Hey,
It's my favorite cameo ever.
so we both got it right. So tiny sip.
Tiny sip.
Okay, so did you hear Troy Baker giving voice acting advice?
Yes, it's wonderful. Wait for me and Nolan North to die.
Yeah.
He's
Fantastic.
absolutely not wrong.
Okay, next one. Here's a hot take. Wolfenstein: The New Order was at best a mediocre shooter.
Oh, no.
So,
Objective?
My guess for you was already no. You're not going to say. You're not going to say. You're not going to say so.
I like it a lot. But are we being objective or subjective with this thought?
Doesn't matter.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But not for any real reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what would you say your guess for me is?
I need it to be no.
You need it to be no. It's yes. It was there was nothing special. I liked it. It was a fun game, but a lot of games are fun. There was nothing special about it, and I really didn't like the it was the last game I ever played that had toggle ADS. Who does toggle ADS? That's ridiculous.
No, that's true. It is terrible.
Like, who in this day and age toggle ADS?
I know.
Yeah, it was a fun game, but there was nothing special about it. Yeah, it was mediocre.
Fine.
All right, so you got it wrong.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. All right, fine. Okay. So it's time for an objective question.
Okay.
So you must be objective.
Okay.
Your best.
It's hard for me. Actually, thinking back, it's actually really easy for me to be objective. I'm good at knowing when I'm being an idiot. I'm good.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Objectively, Final Fantasy is the most prolific video game series of all time.
The most prolific?
The most prolific. Now, and I'm going to when I say prolific, obviously we think about like would have sold the most copies, would have done the most blah blah blah. I'm going to say has done the most in general in gaming, is the most diverse, has done the most, and is the best received.
Yeah.
But the best combination of those things.
Yeah, see, when you have the best combination of those things, it's no. Even still, no. I think in the United States it is. Well, hold on. I'm guessing for you. I'm guessing you're gonna say no. Yes, you're gonna say yes. You're gonna say yes to that.
You're awfully torn. It absolutely is.
Okay, so I mean, I accidentally gave away. I accidentally gave away my answer. Yeah, no. In the United States, it absolutely is. But I mean, I'm thinking across the world, the most ubiquitous game, and that has to play into it. Yeah. So none of these games are going to be my favorite games. On some of them, I have played very little of it all. But the most ubiquitous game is Mario.
Ubiquitous, yes. But that's the reason why I get all the criteria about diversity as well.
Yeah. Also, but then and then selling the most copies and the most popular and across the world, Final Fantasy isn't even the biggest JRPG. In the United States, it's absolutely Final Fantasy, but to go overall universal worldwide sales, even among JRPGs, the sales and the how well it's known, how well it's received, and how much people like it, that I would say that has to go to Dragon Quest. I don't even like the Dragon Quest games, but Dragon Quest has Final Fantasy beaten out worldwide.
So
Yes, so
if it-
objectively, from a United States standpoint, absolutely it is. Absolutely, it's Final Fantasy. But across the world, I don't see how it can be.
so here's the thing when it comes to those games in particular.
Mm-hmm.
You think about the number of games, Final Fantasy games there actually are.
Mm-hmm.
It does actually have sales titles.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to realize there are literally dozens and dozens of
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy titles. And if you compile all of them together,
I
they're worth everything.
I'm
except
not
for,
going to
like,
count. I'm not going to count remakes.
Oh,
I
I am.
can't.
We're
I
going to count
can't.
every title.
Yeah.
We're saying, if we're saying Final Fantasy as an entity dwarfs anything that isn't Mario, and even then it's close.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that, but now we talk about diversity. So let's compare it to Mario then, or
Mhm.
something like Mario, or Zelda, whatever. Those types of games.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy has the RPG thing.
Yeah.
They have a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
They have things that are different styles of RPG games that are definitely not JRPG at all.
Mm-hmm.
They've done the most different type of stuff, with the only thing being maybe Mario. Mario comes close because they've got some really outlandish Mario games. But I mean, like, Mario does not have a shooter. Final Fantasy has a shooter.
Mario has a shooter.
It doesn't have a shooter.
There's a shooting. There is absolutely a third person shooting segment. You as a tank in the new Mario game. Not the new Mario game.
That is not
No,
a
no, no,
shooter.
no, 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 not Mario Party. Not Mario Party. The Super Mario Odyssey.
Okay, but that being said, it's not a shooter game. There is a shooter Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess phrasing it in the way, yeah. If you phrased it in that way, that was the criteria. Final Fantasy, without releasing a single actual genuine hot garbage game, has the most diversity within its games, within its gaming universe. Then yeah, I think from just about any other metric, there's always a game series that will top it out, even if it's game series that I don't like as well. This is actually me trying to be objective. If I was being subjective, I would have said absolutely yes because I like Final Fantasy. I don't get super into it, but I enjoy them. But trying to be objective is how I come up with no. But if you're doing the specifically on the no hot garbage, but while being most diverse, then yeah, if that's what you're going by, it has to be yes.
I'll give you another metric. I'll give you another objective metric. Who has the biggest MMO of all time that still has the most active players? Final Fantasy 14.
Okay, currently has the most active players. Final Fantasy 14 is not the biggest of all time. There were plenty of times. There were plenty of times when when WoW had more concurrent players.
Especially in the beginning when Final Fantasy 14 wasn't being updated. But Final Fantasy 14 was the biggest of all time.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and absolutely more concurrent players. I'm saying, you know, but
there were moments in time when WoW was larger than 14 in 14's development stages, its beginning stages. Yes, WoW did not reach the levels that 14 did. Except for maybe in the very beginning. Like, there's some WoW stuff in the beginning that was probably nuts.
Wow, Final Fantasy 14 isn't as big as either of us thought.
It's enormous. What are you talking about?
Final Fantasy 14 has an all-time high of 100,000 concurrent players.
Oh, no, that's not true. No, I was looking these up the other day. There's millions. There's literally millions. Because I was looking this up just the other day.
No, not active players. Concurrent players. People playing at the same time.
That's probably possible.
Mm-hmm.
Especially right now.
Yeah, the highest number of concurrent players. Okay, so here we go. So active players for WoW is 120 million players. Concurrent players, the highest number of concurrent players for WoW was 26 million people playing at the same time.
Well, during events, yes, but there's the whole thing. This is a Game Race article. The
Mhm.
last time they said that the highest point of all time and the highest number of active users is both those titles are held by FF14.
Is the highest numbers of the highest number of people who of the number of accounts for World of Warcraft is 120 million. The most the most number of active players was 10 million. Here we go. Total player accounts. I have
that will for sure be WoW though, because it's been around since the 90s.
Yeah,
so that's for sure WoW.
Total player accounts 120 million for WoW.
Yeah, that has to be WoW.
39 million for FF14.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like 2 decades difference in the amount of time you've had to have.
Yeah, sure.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, sure. Maximum, the highest number of people playing at any one time was, how many million did I say it was? 4 million? And the highest number of people playing at any one time for FF14. So people online in that moment. So not the active players, but concurrent players was 100,000. So still 40 times larger at its. So the peak of FF14, the maximum number of players playing at one time is 40 times lower than the max people of WoW playing at one time.
Maybe whatever I read was off on some of the numbers then, but I didn't even rate still.
Now I think
I still stand by my overall statement. Yeah,
current active players, I think it would go to FF14 because all these 40 million or almost 39 million, 40 million, whatever, lots of millions of people are most of them are currently active on FF14, and a huge swath of the WoW players are no longer active. It's become much smaller than what it once was. But and so yeah, at this point in time, yeah, more active players, more concurrent players. The most recent thing I saw said the people actively playing WoW, current concurrent numbers is about 35,000, which is, I'm assuming Final Fantasy 14 isn't much lower than its peak. So let's give it 70, 80,000. So currently twice as big as WoW as far as active concurrent players goes.
The whole point of the question, I still stand by Final Fantasy being the biggest series of all time. In the way that I gave the metrics earlier. In the way
that you give the metrics, yeah, I think I have to go with it.
It was the original answer, but you're concurrent.
Yeah, just the statement. Yeah, so the official answer has to be my first answer, but I've changed my answer. Just the statement, Final Fantasy is the biggest, most prolific game series of all time. I have to disagree with that, but then as you laid out the metrics, for sure. With the metrics you gave. Mm-hmm. Okay. My next statement.
I've only got like 1 or 2 more.
Okay. I have a handful more, and that's fine. I would rather pay $80 for a game that contains 0 paid content than pay $20 for a game that's always pushing its battle pass and paid skins.
Yeah, no, but that's everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I mean, that's everyone. I don't know. I'm sure they exist, but I don't know people who are just like, yeah, man, I'd rather pay $20 and then just decide later on if I want to get the. No, I don't. Everyone hates EA for the same reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, that's the thing. My answer is no. You got it wrong. Here's why. Apex Legends. Let's look at that for example. I could go in there and buy whatever skins I wanted. I think they're wrong for doing it, but for my wallet's sake, to me that's a free game. I haven't spent a dime on it, and I'm not gonna. And I enjoy playing it. So yeah, obviously I would rather have that than pay $80 for it. Now, when we have things like pay full price for a game, but that's not the content for the game, and they're already working on DLCs for it, then they could have just dropped in the game and stuff like that, and I'm going to pay full price for those later. I'd rather just charge me $20 extra for the game and put your DLCs in with it, and don't just don't sell me your battle pass and sell me your season pass and try to sell me this and make it so that I have reduced actual game content like that. I'd rather pay the higher price up front than have that. Even if it winds up being the same price, I'd rather have it pushed up front, and they say, hey, you paid this much for the game, just know that we're releasing more content for it. I paid the same amount of money, but the fact that they're setting it up like they're selling me more stuff, it makes me mad. But as far as just like skins and stuff goes, I don't care about that. I don't think they should because they have all these impulse buyers and little kids and stuff, and they're making their money off of in terrible ways. But as far as my personal preference goes, nothing moral, just my personal preference, and for the sake of my wallet, I'd rather get the cheaper game that wants to sell me a battle pass because I'm not going to buy it.
I mean, there's the whole thing about the reason why they've actually had a trial and had to have people from who was it? Was that EA or was that a different company? It was EA, wasn't it?
It was probably EA. I don't remember, but yeah, about with the loot boxes and stuff because it was trying to determine if it was gambling.
Yeah, it was officially over FIFA because the way they did it was they were like, "This is gambling."
Yeah,
and it is.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely yeah. Oh, loot boxes. There should never be such a thing as paid loot boxes. Loot boxes are fun, but you must only be able to earn them through gameplay.
And that's the reason why they switched it to like, well, no, you can buy these. You can only get them with tokens, and you can earn the tokens through gameplay. Can you buy the tokens? Oh, I mean, technically, yeah.
Daddy.
It's like, all right.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. No, I think that any game that has paid loot boxes. Now, I do think this though. I did make the statement. Now, going back to the moral argument, especially a game that has oh, poor baby. A position has paid loot boxes, but I go so far as to say any game that has paid DLC, maybe not necessarily DLC, but paid additional content, like paid skins and paid anything like that. On a moral thing, I think that is gambling, and or at the very least, it's an adult activity just to be able to spend money like that. So I think any game that has that should be given an automatic adults only rating.
For obviously much different reasons than we've ever given a game an adults only rating.
Yeah,
but that's fair.
Patrick, what is it going to do to climb up to me and then immediately has to go down?
Like, it makes me feel happy.
Okay. Do you have any more questions, or do I keep going down my list?
I have another one, but this is probably the lamest question I have, if I'm being brutally honest.
Perfect.
And I think it's kind of an obvious answer, too, but we're going to do it anyways. Smartphones killed the handheld gaming console.
Oh. Oh. For the most... My guess for you is yes. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what my answer is going to be. You give your guess, and then I'll decide if it's right or wrong in a few minutes. Yeah, but my guess for you is yes, they did.
So, no, I don't think so.
Okay, what's your guess for me? So I got it wrong. I'll take a drink.
So, the second, what do you think the number one selling system of all time is?
Well, first, I know what your guess for me is because I have an answer.
I thought you were wanting my guess for it. I would say that I would think you think that.
I would think that. So honestly, no, I don't. We both got that wrong because who is it that makes handheld consoles? The only real person who really makes handheld consoles is Nintendo, and they're still doing it. They're still doing it, and they're still selling the Switch. Yeah. Look at the Switch. That's a handheld.
Yeah.
And it's selling. It's doing great. It's fantastic. So yeah, no. I think it replaced the need for handhelds for the most part, but no one really plays games on their phone. Middle-aged women and children, there are still a lot of people who like to go around playing handheld consoles. So yeah, no, it absolutely didn't.
So this is funny because the reason why I got into that is because I'm seeing these things for what they call the backbone. The backbone essentially is a adjustable width controller that fits multiple different smartphones that plugs into your smartphone and then acts as a controller. For all the people who are playing a lot of handheld, like more hardcore handheld video games, it is a massive thing in the Japanese market and the thing that's getting quite big here in America. And because for the most part, that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking. It's old women playing Candy Crush and a few people playing like the one or two mobile games that I play. Like it's like and you wouldn't play them like a serious game. It's like one of those collect resources kind of games that's actually fun. Whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not really the thing. But if you dive into it, there are a lot of people who play a lot of hardcore video games that are mobile. And so I was looking to like, well, I started looking into things like when smartphones became more popular, were handhelds getting less popular? And the answer is absolutely yes. So that's the reason why I first started the question, because there is an inverse there. So I don't think there's any debate about whether or not smartphones made handheld systems less viable or useful, but it definitely didn't kill the market because number 5, like you said, number 5 video game system selling system of all time is the Switch. Number 3 is the Game Boy, and number 2 is the DS. And people are still playing these systems now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, clearly it's not dead. I mean, so I mean, I guess maybe I probably, if I was trying to get a different, I was trying to trick you, I probably would have I should have worded it a little bit differently. But I mean, that was the main. Did it kill it? Absolutely not. I mean, like the number 5 selling of all time is a current system that's handheld.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and and it's still going on. It's still going with it now. The mobile gaming and things like Steam Link that lets me play a lot of my Steam games on my phone. Which I haven't tried yet, but it sounds awesome.
By the way, that's what the backbone is for.
Yeah, but stuff like that would pull everyone who wasn't already established, like Nintendo and only Nintendo, out of the handheld market because you can't, unless you're fully established in the handheld market, you can't compete with that. But Nintendo is sure doing a good job of it.
Yeah.
Okay, my question. Now, these will also be going onto YouTube. It's important to know that, okay? So due to YouTube's regulations, we cannot confirm our guesses, okay? So I'm going to ask this question. You make your guess for me. I'll make my guess for you, and then we'll just drink or not drink. Okay? Okay, so here's my question. It is more likely that CBD oil is the ultimate cure-all for every single disease, like the hippies claim it is, than it is likely for the masks and vaccines to be a fraction as effective as Fauci and his people claim them to be. Now, remember the YouTube rules and regulations. I'm going to repeat the question just to make it clear, okay? It is more likely that CBD oil is an effective cure-all for absolutely every disease, like the hippies claim, than it is likely that masks and vaccines are a fraction as effective as Fauci and his people claim them to be. Make your guess.
I feel like this isn't about the question.
Okay, so I'm gonna say, yeah, we both got this right, Tiny Sip. Yeah.
I don't think this was about the question. Something's telling me.
By the way, I don't think CBD oil is good for much.
It doesn't seem to be. Like, he was like, oh, I feel better. I'm like, do you?
Okay, and you said you're out of questions?
I could probably come up with one, but I'm out of it.
Okay, well, I can ask a couple more of mine while you're coming up with one, or we can just finish off mine, or whatever you like.
Do the thing.
Okay.
How many more do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 7, and I can remove a couple. Actually, I have 2 right in a row that are the same question, so I'll get rid of one of them. So I have a maximum of 6.
Let's do a couple more, and then we'll call it just one long episode.
We're right at 2 hours. We'll have to do this in 2 episodes.
Ugh, stupid.
Yeah. So anyways, the first question, going back to gaming. Naughty Dog hasn't released a single good game since Neil Druckmann took over. What's your guess for me?
So, I hate him.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. I don't know. No, I mean obviously that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
No, they've made good games since he took over.
Okay, so my guess for you is yes, then, or is my guess for you is no? They have.
Yeah, because they have.
Okay, well, if you're guessing yes for me, you're wrong.
I mean, Uncharted 4 is still a great game.
Okay, so Uncharted 4 isolated from the world. Sure. Uncharted 4 compared to literally every other Uncharted game, except for the one that shall not be spoken of. Except.
Yeah, we don't. That's not a
Mm-hmm.
No, it's objectively a good game.
Yeah, Uncharted 4 isolated, yes, is a good game. Uncharted 4 isolated is a fun game to play.
So if you are saying we're going to consider every game that Naughty Dog has come out with since he's taken over, and we're taking Uncharted 4 out of the equation.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Here we go. Neil, compare Naughty Dog to pre-Neil Druckmann. Compare Naughty Dog to after Neil Druckmann. And isolate it to specifically Naughty Dog games. His takeover ruined the games to the point that you would almost say, comparative to pre-him, the games were comparatively not good at all. How's that?
I mean, I get why you're labeling it so aggressively, because I hate him too. But I mean, no, I still don't think so, because I still would say, like, even if you're comparing Uncharted 4 to Uncharted 1, yes, you can see his influence, and yes, that annoys me. But I still have an absolute blast playing Uncharted 4, and I will still, if someone goes, would you rather play Uncharted 1 or Uncharted 4? I'd be like, you know what, I don't care, I'll play either one right now.
Yeah, but
I still objectively love both of them.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I don't play any Uncharted game for the gameplay. There are plenty of games that play better. I play them specifically for the story. Uncharted 1 had the best story. Uncharted 4 wasn't that great story-wise. I don't even remember what it's about. I don't remember what it's about.
I do. I love pirates. I'm a big fan of the pirates line. The pirate storyline was when I was like, why in the world haven't they done pirates? And they did pirates. I'm like, perfect. I wanted pirates.
Oh, Uncharted 4 was the pirates one?
It's the pirates one.
The sword fighting bit was ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I actually didn't like that part very much. That one.
No,
that
it was
one.
Stupid.
Yeah, that was.
And and for the record, his biggest influence in the game has to be the fact that you get your absolute butt kicked by a girl.
Mm-hmm. Specifically a black girl.
Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, no, absolutely not.
Yeah. Two guys get their butt kicked by a girl at the same time.
Two guys who spent their entire life kicking butt, and this girl's like, I'm going to be better than you. Like, no, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely are not. And then the funny part, like, his influence wasn't that you had a fight with a girl that you could lose. It's that when she dropped down into the area where the two of you are, the two of you thought, man, maybe we can't take this girl. Like, shut up.
Did you see the glitch? Because you're supposed to lose that fight. You're supposed to run away. Someone someone timed an attack just right that it didn't register that she was the invincible person, and the AI did a tag team attack with the player, and she dropped out. I was like, ha! And immediately the two picked her up and slammed her on the ground. And did the tag team kill.
Seen that.
Oh, that was so funny. It was so realistic, really.
And actually, that's exactly what would have happened. They would have beat the living crap out of him. And I was like, yep, we know who made this game. Yeah, no, and his influence is in it, and I don't like it, but it's still objectively a good game. And it's not, and it is not, you're saying, like, objectively is garbage if you're comparing to the others. No, I don't think so.
And also, I guess, so, okay, when did he fire, what's her name, Amy Dunning? Is that her name?
No clue.
When did he, like, did she have anything to do with Uncharted 4 at all?
I have no clue.
Yeah, because if she had one word to say about it, that would explain why it's still a decent game. And so I wouldn't. Yeah.
I don't remember. Specifically.
Yeah. Anyways,
I don't like it.
Yeah, I stand by my statement. Okay, so I have, let's see, one gaming question, 2 political questions and 2 general questions. So we can just finish them off real fast. None of them will take long. The first one. Not persons who take part in or who purchase/observe the same, but specifically persons who distribute, publish, and sell pornography should be criminally charged for doing so.
Okay, so we're trying to be objective here. It depends.
Oh, you're guessing for me. You don't give an answer. Guess for me, and then I'll guess for you.
Well, that depends. Are you thinking objectively or are you thinking subjectively?
I'm thinking objectively from a societal standpoint.
Objectively from a societal standpoint, but from a societal standpoint of what you think is the best version of society or what our society actually is.
Either.
If it's either, and what our society actually is, should people who make, publish, blah, 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 forms of any form of pornographic content be criminally tried?
Should yes. So for the concept of a good society, would a good society that is preventing things from harming society, that would prevent things from harming society from happening, would it criminally charge those people? Or from the sake of our perspective, from our current society, should the anti-obscenity laws that are already on the books be enforced?
So I know for a fact from the way that you changed it slightly the first time, and then the way you changed it aggressively the second time. Your answer is yes. And if you're, it depends. Now, which version of your question are you going to stand with for me to give my answer?
You're so much more libertarian than me. I think either way, you're going to say no criminal charges.
Well, no. In the newest, the last version of the question, it's easily inherently harmful.
Mm-hmm.
It's easily inherently bad. It's easily inherently all these things from a standpoint of morality. And unfortunately, in the world that we live in, with the world the size that we live in, morality has to be subjective. It isn't, but you know what I mean. Is it actually subjective? No. Is it subjective when you have a society? Unfortunately, yes, massively. So, if you're thinking from the standpoint of should it be? No, it shouldn't be. It should not be a thing at all. It should not be a thing that we have to talk about. Is it going to be, and should it be, therefore legal because of the society that we unfortunately created? Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Tyler, didn't you read Mere Christianity? You know that subjective morality is no morality at all.
This is true. No, but I'm saying for me and you, there's no concept of this being subjective morality. But if we are talking about law, this is the reason why I've always stood by the statement of I will never vote for a person based on their morality, because I never want someone else to do that when their morality is different than mine. So because of that, there just are different versions of morality for the individual. That doesn't make them right, but it makes them that individual. So, unfortunately, because those things exist, things like pornography are going to exist, and they exist legally because of people's concept of morality and the concept of consenting adults. So, no, they shouldn't be criminally charged in our world. In a perfect world, would they be? Yes.
So, you're saying that the current anti-obscenity laws on the books should not be enforced?
I don't think they ever will be.
I said should. Do you think these laws that exist should be enforced?
I don't want to give too hard of an answer to this because I don't know all of them. I didn't read all of them. But I would say I know they aren't.
Obviously not.
That's the only answer I can give you. I'm confident in. So they aren't.
Okay. I have just a couple more.
Okay.
The very best fighting game, whatever that may be, will only be fun for a maximum of 3 matches.
Man. No. No. I mean, for you, yeah, but no.
You can't give me your answer before you let me guess let me guess. Which I'd guess no anyway, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I'm grabbing it, baby.
Hello,
baby. Come here. Hello, baby.
Okay.
Okay, so very quickly. So yes, correct and correct, but the whole reason why that's not the case is specifically because of Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat created. I just ran up and got hold of your baby. They created a game in which they reward you for playing more and more and more by discovering more and more and more. And they did it very efficiently in a way that makes it very exciting to play dozens of matches because I want to see people get their head chopped into multiple pieces.
Well, see, I always would just go to the fatality practice room and do everybody's fatalities.
You're just going to go ahead and call that not a match?
Well, because it's not, because you do the fatality, it plays the cutscene, and then you're right back to the fatality practice. It's basically just watching the fatality cutscenes.
Yeah. No, I have whatever. I think they're still fun. I have fun playing them. I will always wait until a fighting game is not new anymore, because I would never pay a new price for a fighting game, because I would never get that much enjoyment out of it.
Not even Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Not even Mortal Kombat. I take that back. I bought 10 when it came out for us to play it together, and then so I could play the storyline. I mean, I bought it soon after it came out.
Yeah, and I'll play a couple matches with you anytime you have one other. But yeah, no, it doesn't take long at all. I could think the maximum of 3. May be a bit. I may have overstated a bit, but yeah, the fight. Yeah, even good ones get born really fast. Yeah. Okay. Next question. The very worst uncased cigar is still better than the very best cased cigar. And okay, so let me rephrase this. I'm changing this slightly. The very worst uncased premium cigar. There, none of these Swisher Sweets. None of these $2 guys. The very worst uncased premium cigar is still better than the very best cased cigar. So it has to be a premium cigar. Otherwise, even no one would be able to say that. So let me change it to that. Make it so it could work one way or the other. Either way.
I've had Vivi. I've had 1 or 2 genuinely good, just plastic wrapped cigars. That were not cased. So, but I don't know if it's better than, if it was better than or worse than the worst. That I don't know. I don't know. I like all of them.
Okay.
My answer is I'll have one right now.
Okay. So for me, my guess for you is no. It's not better. I don't know. You're guessing for me is but I know you like. What is it? Elaine's Dreams, whatever. Eileen's Dreams. Those are heavily cased. I think you like the acids. Those are heavily cased.
Never had one.
Okay. I know one guy's like, oh yeah, I love cigars. I smoke all these acids. Like, you don't love cigars, then, dude.
You're smoking a fancy cigarette.
Yeah, but yeah, but no, I there is no casing that doesn't ruin the flavor of a cigar. So I think you're gonna say no. I think that you think that there are some cased cigars that are as good as or better than a low end premium cigar.
Yeah.
But no, I've never had a premium cigar. I've never had a premium cigar. Of all the premium cigars I've had, and that's at least $5 a stick is what I'm putting a premium cigar at. I've never had a premium cigar that wasn't better than the best cased cigar I've ever had. I hate casing in cigars. I hate casing in pipe tobacco. Give me I like the taste of tobacco smoke. Stop putting juice in it.
I'm ready to put it in.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's me. So we both get it right.
Sure.
Yeah. So we both got it right. You said, well, I don't know what you guessed for me, but I guessed for you that there are some cased cigars better than some uncased.
No, I could feel the neck beardiness coming off your question. I knew what you meant.
Like there's ever a neckbeard who would smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
Although I do have a slight neckbeard right now because I had to trim my beard up, and I keep forgetting that I don't have a beard hanging down covering up my neck. And so now I have these like little like trimmed down but patchy bits on my neck that need to be razor shaved because they're actually visible now, and I keep forgetting they're there.
That's fair.
Okay. One political question, then one non-political, non-gaming question. Political question. It would be the best option tactically to allow men to play in women's sports unrestricted for a time. That way we will see with great clarity how terrible it is.
Well, probably.
So, yeah. Your guess for me. Your guess for me is yes.
I'm guessing for you. Okay, my guess for you is 100%. You would love to watch one really good boxing match.
Define good.
Well, defining it would be you pick the two best of the best in the women's and men's field, and the woman gets the absolute crap kicked out of her. As has been proven a handful of times actually happens. I think it's one of those things where it's very much a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of a thing to argue.
Yeah.
Because
my guess for you also, so I'm not trying to interrupt, but my guess for you is also yes, specifically the way the question was worded.
Specifically the way the question is worded, yeah, because you keep having people who are just like, well, the women's, the men's, the women's, and all that. And like, you take the transgender thing out of the equation altogether. I would love for us to stop talking about it, about the men's versus women's thing, because they're like, well, why don't the women make more? Because they're garbage. More people have walked on the moon than women have dunked in the WNBA. It's objectively garbage.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, so because I phrased it that way, tactically, would it be the best? Yes, it would. Tactically, that's the best option. Just to see, so everyone sees, look how bad this is. I would never, ever do anything. I will always fight it, make sure it's never allowed, because morals must trump tactics. And I'm so morally opposed to it that I cannot, in good faith, of course, I can't allow it. I have the opportunity to allow or disallow anything, but like I can't, abide it. I won't. If someone says, "Yeah, I'm for this," they won't get my vote. But just from a raw tactics perspective, morals be darned. Tactically, I think that would be a good tactic. So then it would be obvious to everyone.
Let him get kicked in.
Okay, and this is the last question, and then we can be done. It's this. If the star of the show isn't the crust, you've made a bad pizza.
Yeah, of course it's wrong.
Yes, it's wrong.
Yes, correct. Incorrect.
Correct, incorrect. Okay, so obviously my guess for you is no. You're going to say no to that.
I won't respect you if your answer is anything else.
On a good pizza, so drink, because on a good pizza, the meal is the crust. The toppings are condiments to make the crust taste better.
Absolutely not. If you look at an actual, real Italian pizza,
that's that's the whole purpose of the Italian pizza.
No.
Yes, yeah. Now an American Italian pizza, it's like a New York style or something like that. But yeah, no. If you actually hear the Italian chefs describe it, that's the whole point of it. It's the same thing. How we in the United States come across Italian food the different way that the actual Italians do it. For us, the pasta is a carrier for the sauce. For them, their sauce makes their pasta taste a little better. For every meal they eat, their carb, the bread, in the case of a pizza, the pasta, I guess that is still bread, in the case of a pasta dish, that is the meal, and they've added stuff to it to make it taste better.
But here's the thing. That's because it needed tasting better.
Sure.
Yes, it's easy to say that the crust is the meal. Of course it is. It's the biggest thing and it's the most filling. Obviously, it's the meal.
But it's the star of the show. It's absolutely the star of the show.
I dare you to find any video of an Italian man making a pizza and where they get, because I've seen this a trillion freaking times, including with Gordon Ramsay talking about it, who's not Italian.
Yeah, I love said Italian man like Gordon Ramsay.
They say the same thing every time. The secret is in the sauce, because it is.
That's probably their individual secret. That's what makes their sauce better than everyone else.
Because that's what makes their pizza better than everyone else's.
Sure, because if everyone follows the same crust recipe and everyone has a phenomenal crust, then the only thing that's going to make it better is the supporting actors.
No, that makes it the star of the show. If you have 3 movies that are all the same, and the only thing that makes them different is that the guy who's the main in one of the movies is way better, it's the better one.
Okay, if you have 3 movies, and they all have the same main actor in them, probably Liam Neeson, or
probably,
yeah, and the only difference between the movies, which is true, is the supporting actors. This is a true statement about Liam Neeson's movies. Then your only preference between the movies will be who has the better supporting actor. The only difference that will make a better pizza is not who has the best star, being the crust. It's who has the best supporting actors: the sauce, the meat, the cheese.
But see, you're thinking about this the wrong way. You'd be thinking about if they all have this. If the crust is the main thing is the movie.
No. The pizza is the movie. The pizza is the movie. The toppings are the actors. The crust is the main actor. The sauce
this is the dumbest conversation we've ever had.
Well, the pizza is the movie, so it's a great conversation. And no, I'm sure we've had dumber.
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, we did speak for almost an hour about whether or not console exclusive or because exclusives are anti-consumer. Surely that was a dumber conversation.
Might be.
But yeah,
at least I didn't say it was the pizza was like a movie. Either way, I disagree, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, because it really, I mean, it is. And my statement, by the way, I can't think of who it was, but my statement came from it was from a Sicilian person who was talking about it, because he was talking about how, in Sicily they put more. A Sicilian pizza will have meat on it, where a Nepalese pizza won't. And he was talking about it, and he's like, yeah, we like meat, and we do this and we do that, and said, yeah, and the Nepalese. I say Nepalese, it really makes me think like from Nepal. I don't know what you would say from, especially because Naples, right? Naples isn't even the Italian word for it; it's Nepali. So yeah, so it sure sounds like Nepal. So I really don't know, but Naples, from Naples. And because a Nepalese pizza is literally big crust, tiny bit of sauce, fresh basil, and 1 or 2 slices of fresh mozzarella.
Yeah, like a few chunks of mozzarella laid upon the pizza.
It's the best pizza ever made. But but anyways, that's neither here nor there. But then Sicilian pizza, they'll put random pork on it and some other stuff, and the Sicilian chef was talking about it, and he was like, yeah, of course I like Sicilian pizza better. It's like this and like this. He said because I love putting meat on my pizza, so of course I'm gonna be I grew up this way. He said, but you go to have a Nepalese pizza. I said, and you go to Nepali, and you get a pizza from Nepali. He said, and yeah, they don't put as much stuff on it. He goes, and this is an actual Italian pizza chef. He goes, oh, but the crust.
Oh, but the crust.
And
He's like
you know,
having a moment
yeah,
about his food. 'cause
yeah,
Italian people are insane.
to watch an Italian pizza chef orgasm about somebody else's crust.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be the Italian way.
It probably is. But like, ugh, Italian people freak out about food in the most hilarious ways. Which reminds me, that was your last question, correct?
That was my last question. So as far as I know, we're done.
No, then I'll leave us all with a parting statement. Since
Okay.
we're talking about Italians and all such nonsense.
Bop-a-da-boopy.
Bop-a-da-boopy. So, ouch! I dropped a thing in my foot. So you have Americans who drink a moderate amount of red wine and eat a moderate amount of pasta.
Bye, everybody.